Today we're exploring craft in Bucha, Irpin and Hostomel because it turns out there are a lot of interesting small businesses here. Businesses that now need our support. And as a local resident, I just couldn't walk by. I'm Yevhen Sinelnikov and this is Craft Travels. Let's go! As they say, craft is the head of everything. More precisely, bread is the head of everything. Craft bread is the head of everything. I'm Yaroslav and I bake craft bread. Friends, hello, 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 good afternoon. Buongiorno. Salut, welcome, welcome, salut. Yevhen, Yaroslav, I said there, bread is the head of everything, right? So, are you making bread here? Well, of course, not heads.
Yes. Right now the process is very active. The dough is being spread out now.
Pre-shaping and shaping will follow. The oven is nearly burning, but somehow it's not. We'll light it now. There are giant, huge bread factories nearby. So how do you decide to get into this business and compete with the big factories? What is the main focus?
First of all, I think it would be really great if we had a definition of craft bread here in Ukraine.
The best thing about it is that it involves the maximum amount of handwork.
If you have too many machines, then you don't have the right to call your bread craft bread. If you have about 90% handwork and 10% machines, that's perfect. So, does it taste any different?
Yes, of course. So, if it's kneaded by hand, does it taste better? Yes.
A lot of energy is put into the baker.
There's a lot of control involved, a lot of factors, and so on. I mean, it's more alive.
The presence of more inanimate objects makes a person feel more alive, highlighting the contrast between the living and the non-living.
In terms of quality, according to certain standards, you might not be able to tell the difference, but in terms of energy value, definitely.
All right, please tell me what you actually do here besides bread. I mean, I understand it's probably not just bread, a loaf, and that's it. And a loaf. Do you even have a loaf?
Well, sometimes our bread is called a loaf because it's shaped like that, but our bread is artisanal, handmade, and baked in a wood-fired oven.
We have bread baked on the hearth, bread baked in a mold, and besides that, we also have a lot of buns, different small pies, various cakes, cookies, things like that.
How did you decide to get into this business in the first place?
I worked as a cook. Restaurants are closing, so I needed to do something else.
And bread is not just a staple, it's a universal thing during an epidemic, during war. It's like it goes through all these events. Because no matter what happens, bread needs to be baked. How much can you make in such an oven with 2 hands or 4 hands, okay? At the time when we were doing volunteer work, when we were only baking bread and giving it away for free, our record was over 300 loaves in one oven. Now we are weighing out the dough for the blanks that will become bread, all by hand. Americans in the Ukrainian diaspora saw one of the videos, saw that we need the bread by hand, and they were like, this is impossible, how do they even work like that? On the first day, like Yaroslav, we want to help you. There was this real revolutionary woman. She just handled everything. She says, we can buy you a dough mixer. I said, okay. She sent me 2 or 3 options, and I just pressed with my finger. She says, okay.
On the second day, we bought it in Poland and found a driver. Incredibly, it arrived on the 3rd day. Can you believe it?
It's just crazy. I built this bakery together with one man. We spent 2.5 months mixing 20 tons of clay to build this little house. Yes, no way.
It really looks like it's 100 years old. Well, war makes things age.
Wow, we built the first stove together with Serhiy. That's the one we started this business with, then we went our separate ways. I built the second stove myself, using the experience gained from building the first one. Plus, by then I had already made connections, stove makers, and I consult with them about what and how, where things go, and how they're placed.
And what's the difference between a stove for baking bread and just a regular stove?
There's no major difference. There are just a couple of small things. Well, first, it's very well insulated.
For us to stay warm here in the winter, we use a wood stove. The stove doesn't heat this place effectively. It's almost completely cold because all the heat stays inside and doesn't escape.
Yeah, so that the baking efficiency is as high as possible. The second thing is that the vault is lower.
In the past, they built it high to fit a cauldron inside, but for bread you can make it lower and it bakes better.
What did you do that there are legends about you in Bucha? Legends? Well, okay, what do people say about you?
Here, I think it's important, first of all, to focus on the qualities of the people who do something. If they are appealing, then even if you don't make a very high quality product, people will still come to you, at least to support you, to give you the confidence to continue. And if some news about you has spread, it means that the person came and got more than just tasty bread, because you can get tasty bread at Silpo too. They received such emotional feedback, and this desire just bursts out to tell everyone. When we get some positive emotion or negative, we want to share it with someone.
And that's why you either have one path or another path.
Good afternoon!
And how did you find out about them? And why not buy bread at Silpo, for example?
We found out about this a long time ago.
I think it was in April when we came back after the occupation.
And we knew this story mostly from television. Well, and then we often come here to show our support.
Well, is it tasty or are they lying?
No, it's tasty. Try it.
Please tell me, what is this?
The cheese is sweet, and the apple jam is sweet too.
In the cafe, there are ones with potatoes, with paneer cheese cooked in butter, and with cabbage mushrooms stewed in the oven.
We chop the cabbage, stew it in the oven, then use it as a filling. This is rye bread, made with rye sourdough, yeast-free.
Well, Zhenya, are you going to try it?
With pleasure. Bread, like wine, you have to smell it first, right? Actually, you should smell everything first before you put it in your mouth.
Tasty. Do you like it?
Try it. See, you smelled it first too. What if they're slipping something in?
I like that it's not dry. It just begs for some sallow. Oh, yes.
Enjoy. And here's the white one, but it's still dense. That's very important to me.
When cabbage is stewed in the oven, it gets this unique flavor, kind of sweet.
It's different. Welcome. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Yes, you may. And how did you find out about the bakery? Why do you come here instead of going to the Silpo nearby?
Well, ever since they opened, I've been coming here. It's probably been 4 or 5 years already. Three. Yes. So, yeah.
Is it tasty? Is it worth driving a bit farther to buy it?
I used to come here from Kiev just for the bread. I'll take some white and rye bread.
145. We have self-service checkout. Customers pay for themselves and collect their own change. We monitor 2 things this way.
The first is trust, and the second is that you need to keep things clean because money is very, very dirty.
By the way, this jam is made by a producer a little further away, and they cook this jam and bring it to us fresh.
Is it also kind of homemade craft?
I try to organize the bakery in such a way that as many people as possible are involved, besides those who work inside. There are different producers appearing, local, small, also craft like us.
And we end up supporting each other. And because of that, we're like a small blood vessel.
You can't bake bread with a bad mood, especially in this bakery. That's just how it is here. Here you have to be in the process all the time. If you miss just a couple of minutes, the oven cools down and that's it, your bread turns out pale. If your mind wanders and you add too much firewood, the food will overcook and burn. That's why I really like this bakery. It helps develop mindfulness. You're constantly practicing mindfulness, being in the moment. Because if you're not in the moment, you just can't work here, because bread is alive. It's alive in the literal sense because there's sourdough in it, which contains living microorganisms that grow and develop. Yaroslav says sourdough is very difficult because it is alive and unpredictable. For example, today it's too cold for it, or there's more moisture, or maybe it just didn't like the flour you fed it, and so it didn't rise as well. And you already understand that it's going to behave differently. And that's why you constantly need to establish this connection with it, this relationship, and understand, observe, and know how it's going to behave. And that's why this process of interacting with something alive, just like fire is alive and the stove is alive too. So here we are constantly building relationships with the bread, with the stove, with the fire, and then you get good bread.
Has anything changed since before the war, when Bucha was, and now? What has changed inside the people of Bucha?
Now you can really feel the strong belief that we will win.
That's what you can feel. Because back then, you couldn't feel that kind of belief.
Back then, there was still this narrative. Maybe they'll come back. Maybe something else will happen.
And that's why everyone was very, cautious, very, very careful, like a cat walking, putting its paw into something wet and then pulling it back. But now there's a lot of confidence.
Of course, Bucha and Irpin have been restored. They've been restored so well that sometimes you can't even recognize them. But I remember when I returned after the deoccupation, there was so much destruction. Nothing was working. Neither the coffee shops nor the stores. Not even the market was open. I'm Andrei, I make handcrafted axes out of wood. Hello, good afternoon, how are you? Great, yeah? We're working, it smells great here. Thank you, these are our essential oils, that's me. Can we have a little tour? Of course. Let's start. Here we have a sofa. This is the main workspace that nobody uses.
This is our office area. Here we do operational creativity. And here we have the workshop where the magic happens.
Hi girls, good afternoon.
Here we make candles using a wax melter that resembles a samovar. Nearby we have a rack with wooden parts and blanks.
Listen, tell me please, is this real wood?
It's real wood from pruning branches in park areas of the city of Kharkiv. Yes, we've been working with Kharkiv for a long time. That's where we started, and we really appreciate what we have.
So you still bring wood from Kharkiv? Why is that? Why Kharkiv specifically?
Well, actually, it's a very complicated process. It's painstaking work to find the right quantity, the right diameter, the right size, and the right bark so that it looks the way it does. We value our product, and our clients appreciate that it looks the way it's supposed to look.
And did I understand correctly that this isn't cut from a tree, but it's made from trimmings, right?
There are 2 points here. There are branch trimmings, and then there are, for example, some parts of a plot that are for construction, for reconstruction, or something like that. For example, there was road construction there, right? And they were clearing the strip there, and we use that. Basically, it's firewood. So we look through the firewood. We spend a lot of time on manual work, picking out what we need from the firewood. So we don't cut down new trees, but we look for what has already been cut before us. We actually started this product as the first in Ukraine, and now others have already started copying us.
Someone was inspired by Scandinavian trends, but we developed it ourselves, patented it, and we know how important it is to have exactly the right kind of wood, how it should be processed, how it should be dried and prepared.
And then this wax insert itself, which forms the candle, is also very important. We make the wicks ourselves, which we developed on our own. Yes, these are spare cartridges. The most important thing is that we make candles that are rechargeable. So you buy a candle once, then you recharge it and use it many times. It's always natural for you. Customers who purchase our candles note the unique scent, different from regular perfumed candles, as we only use natural essential oils.
And how many years has it been?
We made our first sales in 2019 at the end of the year. We were inspired by the idea after watching the Win-Win show. A guy from Kharkiv also, he makes Scandinavian candles, if you know what that is. My wife asked why it's called a candle when it's not really one. I replied by suggesting we make a candle out of wood. And that's how it started. We made our first batch of candles for the Christmas market. We came with her to Vyshizvoy in Kyiv. It sold out quickly. And we thought, well, that's interesting. Maybe we should try doing this. And that's how I changed my profession and started doing this. I'm a naval officer. I was the chief mate in the merchant fleet. Everything was fine, actually. Except for being away from home for 4 months at a time, everything was fine with me.
Don't you regret it?
No, I definitely don't regret it. Here, I bring much more benefit to people, and yes, let's say it sounds a bit pompous to the state, but to society than I did there. Because there I worked for myself. Yes, I brought money into the country. As exporters, we bring money into the country. We started out as an export brand. Our sales are 70 to 30 in favor of exports, 70. And we took that path, which very few people take right away. At the end of 19, we sold our first batch on December 28th. And in February, we were already at Christmas World in Frankfurt. This is the biggest candle exhibition in the world, actually. And it so happened that we were lucky. At that time, we didn't really know anything yet, but we immediately went down that path. And now our goal is to create more creative Ukrainian products, to export them, and in this way show the world that Ukrainians can make something cool, not just sell firewood. Is it charred? It's charred and treated with beeswax. Then it's charred again so that it has a matte surface and feels pleasant to the touch, and at the same time your hands don't get dirty. But it's not finished yet, it's just a blank.
And this one is finished, right? Oh, it's beautiful. How much does something this beautiful cost?
Generally, we start at $35 or euros on the export market. These are retail prices. Well, Ukrainian prices are lower, of course. We sell differently in Ukraine.
We have 3 main styles.
This is roki. It's a kind of tree with rough bark, a stone-like surface. That's why we actually called it roki. Then we have other candles like this. We call them ubut, meaning it's a tree with a history. It's already a dead wood that we find without cracks. And we process it, sand it, then coat it with almond oil, and then we make this candle. And volcano, these are our little volcanoes. This is wooden bark, charred, covered with wax, and made with a matte surface so that it looks really cool. Then there's a separate line called Blossom Line, which are very delicate candles with floral scents. So this is linden, and this one is probably lavender.
Why would you choose this route? To do things with quality, to make them awesome and not just cheap.
I don't see any point in competing on price with China. We can never beat them on price. And my goal is for Ukraine not to be like China, but to become an industrial base for Europe. I want brands to come here and order more products from us. And this is very painful for me because sometimes I see, even when I work with contractors, that our business culture is still not mature enough for this. We need to work, work, and work. And this can only be done when we treat our product with respect. And with respect for our partners too. And when there is a Ukrainian flag somewhere on the product, it should be like the Swiss cross on watches. Well, something like that. Look, what a cool thing. Look at our stock of boxes. And actually, these aren't boxes for candles. They're mostly shipping boxes. So we keep a stock of our shipping boxes in different combinations just to provide free delivery for our customers and save their money and time. But to make it really optimal and so that we don't waste the customers, well, in the end, the customer pays for everything anyway. We're not stupid, we understand. We want to make sure the customer doesn't spend money on some useless, unnecessary packaging. We often receive orders with various combinations of candles, such as 2 of one kind, 1 of another, 3 of a different type, and an additional 1 of a distinct variety.
So, are you saying there are different boxes specifically for this?
Now we've reduced it and made fewer, and these are all postal boxes.
We just have more postal ones than regular ones. So is this one already finished?
Yes, this is the gift one.
We minimized plastic in our products and have eliminated it entirely from packaging. For example, this tag on our candles, it's not plastic, it's a type of paper, but it looks like leather or plastic, as some people say. Then we use eco-friendly paper tape, so we're really focused on ecology, and that's exactly why we use only essential oils, not what they call fragrance oils, because those are completely different things. One is natural, the other is not, and that's the key difference. It's very pleasant because it's natural, not chemical.
You won't have that chemical atmosphere. You'll have a very refined, gentle scent, but you'll still notice it. Well, it's essential oil, so it has a very concentrated aroma right now. If it's already diluted with wax, it will be more pleasant.
How did it happen that everyone is so energized? All the girls, they're just...
You should ask Oksana about that. Oksana is our first hired employee here in Hostomel. She came to us.
It's simply a miracle. Look, Andrei probably didn't tell you about these candles, but it's like the insects that made them. They lived. It's a separate series. It's a miracle when you hold these candles in your hands, when you feel these scents. I don't know what job could be better for a girl.
At the end of 2021, they set up this studio here. So we immediately set it up in a way that would make it as comfortable as possible for people to work here, for everyone who works here, no matter what job they do. Today, Oksana told me that she doesn't have enough outlets. Today at 4:30 in the morning, I finished installing that outlet, so it would be there for her no matter what. I think it's important.
He and Nastia have this trait, you know, even when they're thousands of kilometers away, they still worry about what kind of coffee we're drinking here. These are people who truly deserve respect, and that's why, first of all, I really want to be like them in that way, and secondly, it's honestly a very pleasant job.
We have three main sizes. This is the compact, this is the original, the medium one, and this is the patio. This is our main product line. These can be recharged by the clients themselves at home. This one needs to be sent to us so we can recharge it, unfortunately, for now. But there is also a line of decorative candles. They come without tags. No, that's separate. Is this completely separate? Yes, it's separate. That's another size. These are the 21st, 17th, and 13th. What is this for? They all have the same cartridge size, so that you can buy a set, arrange it however you want, as many big or small ones as you like. This one is small, this one is big, so that they combine nicely. And then you order one size of cartridges and keep replacing them. It's very convenient, and it's 3 in 1. Most often it's used as a bedside lamp. Yeah, you turn it on at night, read a book, then turn it off and go to sleep. And they all have different scents, that's right. The most popular blend we've always had is pine, cedar, and lavender. And a long time ago, one of our clients told us that this is the scent of Crimea. And we were like, that's true, so we call it the Crimean blend, and it's very, very popular.
Well, let's try to do something.
These are our blanks, original size. Here we've already made these clay bottoms. We make them with special clay molds. They're all the same thickness.
So does that mean there's clay inside as well?
Well, yes, that's for safety, so it's there. By the way, we've even patented this cartridge design. When the fire burns out, it comes into contact with a surface that's fireproof, doesn't burn, and it extinguishes itself. And the distance from the wick to the walls isn't enough for it to heat up. It will be warm, but it won't catch fire. We use wicks that we developed ourselves. These are multi-layered wicks that the girls are making now. And they're multi-layered. When they burn, they open up like a flower. It's very interesting. Just hold it here with your finger and insert it right in the center. And inside. That's it. It's very important for it to be vertical, like this. And it's ready for pouring. Now we take the wax, we keep it at a constant temperature. Let's try to pour it. We pour it in 2 steps. This way we keep the top layer smoother. That means it solidifies more evenly, so we do the first layer like this and then we wait. Try it. On the wick, yes, don't worry. We'll trim it later, so that's not an issue. About halfway. Now we can add the fragrance and mix it evenly like this. And we top up this candle to our standard, so to speak. Perfect. Oh, it's starting to set. Yes, and now it's better not to touch it, it will harden. Also the tag, the bottom, and we wait until it fully hardens. We check the wax again in case it cracks somewhere or something like that. We melt it again and pack it. Looks easy, but this is the very final stage. First, you need to make this tree. And the hardest part is to find exactly the kind of tree that looks great and has the right diameter and size. That's difficult.
It turned out that in the yards of Irpin, there is a craftsman whose products win gold medals at competitions.
Hi, Yevon.
How are you? Great! I'm Pavlo Matejek and I brew craft beer. Don't you have anything to pour? I even chill it.
Yeah, I just wanted to briefly explain what it is. This one specifically, this little beer glass, is called Sabotage, and we make it with pineapple puree. If you look closely, it's actually a pineapple. It's like it's been shattered into pieces. And here, you know, it says Mariek Brewery, that's ours. And why is it called Sabotage?
We made the beer, and then it got uncontrollably spoiled in just 2 days.
We come in and I'm like, what sabotaged this, you know? So that's how it's ended up being called Sabotage. I'll bring it, I put it in the fridge. There are 2 samples. There's a sample that's been beer for 1.5 years now. I had it at home in the basement. They drank all sorts of nasty stuff that was there. But they didn't take the good beer. The expired stuff was just lying around in 0.33 bottles because we didn't have time for it. And they were in the house, right? Yes, they were.
And here I see everything is being rebuilt.
No one was here, only strikes. The houses were here, but behind this house, there's nothing alive at all. Part of the house is gone too. That red house over there was also completely destroyed. And for us, it turns out the strikes hit our neighbors and us too. Everything fell here. Everything was damaged. The ceiling, the walls.
Are you changing all the equipment now, I see?
We changed its location. We used to have a store here, and there was a small bottling workshop. But after everything got broken and damaged there, we decided it would be easier to make one open space. Now we'll recover, and I think we'll be heading somewhere, maybe to Europe.
It will probably be symbolic, yes, in that direction.
We probably should have already done all this, but unfortunately we suffered losses, so it didn't happen for us. For example, when Eurovision was happening recently, there was an opportunity for someone to send, well, Ukrainian breweries sent beer there. It would have been really cool if we had actually shown something from Irpin there. Well, if you think about it, like I said, in Ukraine, only 2 breweries actually suffered physical damage. That's Burville and Chernihiv, where they just have a hint left that there used to be some equipment. That something used to be there, and basically us.
I'm not a beer expert. What should you pay attention to in order to win gold, to become the best beer? What should it be like?
If we look at it from the craft perspective, that's one thing, but if we take craft, specifically craft, there is a form where it is clearly stated what should be in that beer. Specifically, the color should be from this to that, the taste like this, the aroma like that, and the ingredients like this. This also plays a big role because Americans use 6-row barley, while we only use 2-row barley. It must be like this, 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 and this. And each of them is already looking for like, okay, this is a defect, for example. There shouldn't be a smell of hydrogen sulfide. There shouldn't be a smell of, say, dried mushrooms, because that means the beer is getting old. Our beer can easily last for 2 or even 3 months. I can even bring you some beer right now that's been around for 2 years.
And you'll have the chance to taste it and say whether it's defective or not.
I'll be right back. This is the beer I was telling you about. It's called Belgian Saison. Now, to open it, we need to free up our hands. We need to uncork it like this.
Listen, as I understand it, this is from the leftovers, right? So when will there be a new batch?
There will be new ones if we set up the electronics today. We're just bringing it in. That's all. We're cleaning the equipment. So in a week, theoretically, if everything goes well, we can start up. And in a month, at least in a month, we'll already be able to drink beer. This beer is called Belgian Saison. I brewed it with the addition of hay, meadowgrass, and quince puree. Well, it smells quite unusual.
It's supposed to have a musty aroma, that's the style. By style, it should be musty, like musty grass.
Which beer is better, craft beer from small breweries or pasteurized beer from large ones?
If we're talking about unfiltered beer, which contains all the microelements and vitamins, a whole list of B vitamins that you'd lose count of, then it's actually healthier, right? And it will taste better. Because during pasteurization, some cells are killed. They brew a very good smooth Eurolager. A smooth Eurolager. They brew everything the way everyone else does, just like them. But craft brewing, no one else can replicate that. Theoretically, we can take the same recipe, brew it at different breweries, and we get different beer. Even if we want to make the temperature rest exactly the same, we mash in the same way, use the same ingredients, do everything the same, but in the end, we get different beer. The way someone approaches the process is exactly how the beer will turn out. If you simply put your soul into it, no matter how it sounds, then that's exactly the kind of product you get. But if you just show up to work to check a box, things might go right, things might go wrong, things might go wrong.
Listen, brewing is actually not an easy thing. It's a tough process. How long did it take you to get the gold?
To master it?
No, not to master it, but to make the best beer.
Let me tell you this, there are a lot of breweries that manage to do it on their first try. When you come to a competition and choose a funny category, for example, called flower beer, you can put anything in that beer, like dandelions, for example. We'll add dandelion to our beer, making it so interesting that people will want to try it. They'll taste it, say it's cool and nice, and give it a high score. This will easily win first places in competitions. But when you come with a beer that you've already been selling for some time, that already has its own consumers, that's a sign of mastery. I didn't go there for that. We just submitted to the competition. We also submitted other samples that took 6th place. Well, okay. And here it turned out that we made the best beer in this category. It's not an indicator that you won gold and your audience increased.
All right, so what is an indicator? Sales. So when people are standing here and coming in?
In this case, we won't consider this as a retail outlet, as the main place of sales. But it seems to me that after it's over, now that victory will be ours, Ukraine will win very soon, and I feel like there's already a trend. I've already noticed that there are a lot of people who aren't from Ukraine, English-speaking people, about 25 to 30 years old. They're already walking around in groups. They're already there. They walk to Moszczun. They go from the last tram stop in Bucha. They go through Horinka, heading to Moszczun to see it, and it will be the same here. And that's cool, because now they know, like, oh, there's a brewery here. Yes, that's it.
And here in Irpin, is there any activity? I understand that a lot of people just go and get regular obolon or whatever is the cheapest.
If we look at it in the context of the store that was here before the war, we had people who would even come here from Kiev. We live over there on Akademka. They get in the car here, come here for beer, and then go home. It's the same in Irpin. There are people who, well, if someone drinks craft beer, they'll find it anywhere and always. because he'll go somewhere where the store tells him it's craft beer. But if he's really familiar with craft beer, he'll buy it there once and say, no, this isn't craft beer. You can't call this craft beer. And he'll go to the place where he already tried it once. So I can't really say about Irpin. I'm sure it will be. It really will. Everything will be really cool here, but not now, only after the victory.
Let's drink to it. Yes, let's.
I'm Natalia, and I make handcrafted wicker products.
Oh, Natalia, excuse me, sorry. Do you get your wicker in Irpin?
You won't believe me! I get it at the stationery store!
Wicker?
Wicker. It happens.
It's quite a rare form of creativity. So that we don't have to make wicker from wood, from willow, and so that women's hands could handle and weave it, they came up with this type called paper weaving from wicker. I make all the tubes myself, each one completely from a piece of paper.
Is this not real wicker?
It's paper.
Paper, yes. Sorry, paper? It looks and feels like real vine.
Because to become paper in such a basket, it has to go through many stages. This is a tube.
It is already prepared for weaving. It has been treated with impregnation and varnish. You see how sturdy it is, just like a twig. And is it really that strong?
Yes, it's strong. To weave, I soak them in water so they become soft.
Ordinary paper?
No, not ordinary paper, not the kind used in offices. I use newspaper paper.
So you can use newspapers, magazines. The most important thing is that it's thin paper.
Its density should be 45 gm, meaning it's half as thick as office paper. I can demonstrate.
Yes, let's do it. It's interesting.
Here, I have a magic cabinet where I keep it. Right now, it's empty.
Usually I have a lot of straws stored here. Here's a straw that hasn't been painted or treated.
It's just a regular piece of paper and a softer one too.
Yes, a softer one. If we weave with this type of straw, that's how it was done in the past.
We wove and painted it, and that was it.
Well, and the items were soft, not very durable, but they were cool.
And now there are full-fledged items that you can wear for years.
So they're not afraid of moisture either?
They're not afraid of moisture. Really? Yes. All my bags, for example, this bag of mine, I've been using it for 3 years already.
I use it, it's been rained on, I've walked with it in the snow, and nothing happens to it at all. Nothing at all, because there are also layers of lacquer here.
I apply lacquer, acrylic lacquer, and it's strong and even more durable than regular wicker because that one dries out and cracks, but nothing will happen to this one.
Is everything made from this kind of paper?
Yes.
Bigger and smaller ones exist.
For the kind of crafts I make, I take small ones, for example, these little tubes from the small ones.
And I also have, for example, thicker ones. You see, from these long ones, you get thick ones.
These are for big baskets. The small ones are for purses.
I take a knitting needle. Yes, I have this magic mat. Where should we settle down? I usually work at another table, but I think I can manage here too. Here's this kind of glue, just a regular glue stick. I take it, it's waterproof. I hook it here and then I twist, twist, twist like this.
So, just one piece, right where it's attached?
Yes, you don't need much. Another? This is the kind of stick I get. For example, for a tiny bag, I need about 300 of these tubes.
300 pieces?
Yes, that's all.
Wow, well, that's normal for an hour.
Well, yes, when I'm already home alone, everything is set up. I do it pretty quickly.
So these 300 pieces take about an hour to an hour and a half. And, well, I did it, just rolled them.
But how do they connect? Because the vine is long.
Yes, it should be a single piece.
But here, they turn out so small.
They are also glued together. Well, basically, we can do that too. I'll show you how I do it.
This tube is ready, take it. It's like this, it's not hard yet, but already.
It's elastic, it's flexible, and you can easily wrap it even like this around your finger. It forms these little twigs. If I straighten it out, it goes back to its original shape.
And where did you learn about this kind of artwork?
I found out about it a few years ago. It's been 9 years now that I've been doing this regularly. I only weave with willow.
I moved to Kyiv and I decided not to go to work. I just wanted to do something at home.
And I saw these products made from paper willow. Back then, they were completely different from what they are now. Somewhere, someone learned on their own, came up with the idea, and started weaving.
And we gathered people online, we communicated, and everyone was like, oh my god, this is so cool.
There, we would discuss painting techniques, patterns, and share ideas for creating art together.
And that's how it started and kept going and going.
Look at these items. This is, well, not just a simple weaving. This is already a work of art. I apologize, but this, well, it's also high quality even on the inside.
This is a dust bag for storing handbags.
For instance, when you store it in the closet and don't use the handbag during winter, this is a joint brand with my friend, by the way.
She does all this embroidery. I don't know how to embroider. She does the embroidery and attaches it to the handbags.
Together with her, Natalia Lavrik and Anna Ivanikova, we created this brand.
You would never realize that it's paper. Never. You would never realize it. Here is one with leather.
Yes, open it. There's also a long strap inside.
And is this for candies?
Yes, for all sorts of pastries.
And can you really put pastries in here and it won't ruin the paper itself?
It won't ruin the pastry or the basket. They say you can even store bread or other items in there. It's coated. If I'm making something for the kitchen or for a child's room, I use special varnishes that are recommended for children's toys, for food products, you know, for cutting boards, the ones that are specially made for that.
When did it start working out? How much time did you spend messing things up? Or how many items did you ruin?
Yeah, I want to tell you that sometimes I feel like I'm still not getting it right. Sometimes there are real screw-ups, so I can't say that I'm doing everything perfectly even now.
But they're watching. It turns out great.
I have really cool baskets. Actually, I love them incredibly much. Every single one, each of them. When I started doing this, it was September, and by New Year, I was already going to the fair. I went to the fair. It was a New Year's fair. I still had some coffee Christmas trees there, something like that. Well, crafts, just crafts, and that's all. And people were coming up like, oh my god, what's going on here? They were shocked, like, how can they sell something like this in a shopping mall? They bought everything I had.
I thought, cool, I won't go back to work, I'll just keep weaving.
And how much does such an item cost?
Right now, a small item like this costs me 2,800 hryvnias.
That's actually not expensive.
I also think that the price needs to be raised.
For such a unique product, especially in the Carpathians, somewhere where everything is there, it's more or less usual.
And here, and I also really like that there are different colors. You won't find this in willow weaving. This kind of color, it's the dyeing itself. Blue color, here are several colors. It's so unusual cool.
I told you, there are no limits. Do whatever you want. You're always coming up with something new.
Wow! What a creation!
It's used for pillows, for blankets, for something extra that you don't need to show people.
We usually keep it in the kitchen.
I made it a long time ago. Now I have completely different crafts. I probably wouldn't make it like that now, but still it's interesting. It adds a certain charm.
I still can't believe it's made of paper, even by the way it feels when you open it.
That's the leather creaking in there. Well, I really like all of this.
How it is with the sounds.
And how much would something like this cost?
Well, one of this size, I think, would cost 7,500 to 8,000 hryvnias. Because it's on a wooden frame, so you can actually sit on it.
You can sit on it?
Well, not right here, but sit on the corner. It'll be fine.
And how do your family members feel about this?
At first, of course, it was difficult.
People often ask me, when will you get a job? When will you start working? But I am working.
My husband already sees it as a job. He believed me and started helping a bit.
And how much does a bag like this cost?
This one costs 5,500 hryvnias.
I like that it's always woven from willow and it's willow, but here everything is perfect. Nothing sticks out anywhere. Those legs, this leather, everything is just on point.
I ordered from an atelier. They make luxury items for brands, really expensive bags. I worked with them, so now I'm looking for a good leather craftsman.
Master, show yourself.
Show yourself.
Actually, Irpin, Hostomel, and Bucha are a large agglomeration. There really is a lot of small business here, interesting small businesses. We couldn't fit everything into one episode, so stay tuned for the second part.